I suppose first of all, the Tullamore Half Marathon is coming up next week, and I believe it's around about a noon start next Sunday.
Yes, that's correct. We hold our half marathon on Saturday, the 30th of August, starting at Tullamore Harriers grounds at 12 o'clock. Car parking and physios will be available at the club grounds before the race.
Okay, I suppose that's important to have all that in place before it starts. I mean, this is a massive undertaking to organise something like this.
Oh yes, definitely. We're expecting between 600 and 700 runners, so there will be car park and physios available there before the race, and there will be DJs playing music as well.
Okay, so you're trying to, I suppose, make a fun day out of it is probably half the plan here.
Oh yeah, definitely, yes. There will be a fun element to it, and also there will be a very competitive element to it as well.
In terms of the competitors, who won the competition last year in terms of the men's and the ladies?
In the men's race, Gary O'Hanlon won the men's race last year, and Anne-Marie Larkin won the women's race. Okay. Gary is a well-known marathon runner, runs up to 5 or 6 full marathons a year, along with a few 10Ks and halves. Anne-Marie Larkin ran with Tullamore Harriers for years before moving to Donegal and has since joined Lifford AC in Donegal. She also ran for Ireland in the European Cross Country Championships last year.
Okay, so you're attracting not just local crowd, but you're bringing people back from who were in the club before as well?
Oh, definitely, yes. And I think we've runners coming from every county in Ireland this year, and we have runners coming from abroad as well, yeah. So we're reaching out, yeah. And Tullamore Harriers is a very well-known club as well. So
going along with that, you're obviously expecting quite a competitive race then.
Very competitive. Like up the front will be hot and heavy. Yes, you know. Gary O'Hanlon's one of the top marathon runners in the country, and you wouldn't know who else will arrive along with him.
Well, it's a half marathon.
Yes,
I'd imagine it probably starts and finishes at the club. What kind of route will it take?
The half marathon course starts on Charver Road and proceeds out to Charver Road by the fingerboard, heading to Muckla village and taking a left at Screggan Cross. There is a great downhill section at this point, heading towards Mount Bolus. At the crossroads for Mount Bolus, runners go left and head back in by Killurin, passing one of Tullamore Harriers' great marathon runners, Mick Hayden's house. Runners go by the golf club with a few rolling hills thrown in for good measure, and then head up around for the fingerboard. From here there is just over a mile left with some great downhill running to get you home. Runners come back into the Harriers grounds and finish with one lap of the tartan track.
So it's a bit of a loop. I see often people from your club run out to the Muckle area and then come back in on Sunday morning, so they'll be familiar with part of the route. Anyway.
Oh, they will, yeah. Every Sunday morning training group leaves the Harriers between 8 and half 8, and the last 2 months the runners have been doing that loop every Sunday morning. They've been doing it clockwise and anti-clockwise, so all our own club athletes will know the course well. It's a bit of everything on the course. There's good downhill, there's a couple of climbs, but in general it's a fast course.
I pass by an awful lot of those people who run on the Sunday mornings on the way into work. It just tends to be the timing of it. Many of them seem to be social runners and people trying to stay fit as much as competitive on the mornings.
Well, you have that element to it as well, but like you driving along, you'll probably get it harder to make out who is kind of a fun runner to a competitive runner. But like anyone that's out there doing the miles is competitive, because like everyone's doing the same training, so it's as good for one as it is the other, But just on the course, at the finishing line, we're going to have a big water station, bananas, Coca-Cola will be served along with prize given for all the podium finishes. And in the prizes section, we will be giving first, second and third male and female, first over 40 and over 50 in male and female. And also the Quinlan Cup, which was around in the 80s and early 90s, makes a return, and it comes back as a team event this year with the first 4 club runners with the first 4 club runners home winning the cup along with a cash prize.
A lot of people who are coming from other clubs probably wondering, this is all going to be professionally timed, I would imagine, as well?
Oh yes. PrecisionTiming.net are looking after the event for us, and they will give you a chip and you put it into your laces, and that chip will record your time, and you'll have your exact finishing time at the end, and it'll be online as well,
Because what's often the way, you think you're not going to finish in the top 4 or 5, but you'd like to work out what your competitive time is.
Oh, completely. Like whether you're going to run 1:30, 1:40, 2 hours, even there'll be guys running maybe somewhere between 65 and 75, the top guys, and then going back a bit to be going back to 1:30. But it's also important to know for runners out there that I feel a bit daunted by the distance that we're going to have pacemakers at 130, 140, 150 in 2 hours. So if you think you can get around it in 2 hours, maybe 150, there'll be someone there to help try get along at that time, you know. So we'll get you home, you know. You needn't worry.
Yeah, and I imagine if you think you're going to be a 2 hour style half marathon runner, it's not the end of the world either.
Oh, not at all, not at all. There'll be as many running 2 hours as there will be 130, and there'll be even people over 2 hours, and like, you know, everyone's out there doing it, you know, and you know, like the top guys are the top guys at the end of the day, you know. So, and that's just the way elite marathon running is, you know.
Well, there'll be top runners there. There'll be people trying to do their first one as well, Dave. What kind of crowd are you expecting to come along?
We're hoping between 600 and 700. I think we have about 600 registered at the moment. We'd over 5 last year, so we're hoping for the same again, because we got great feedback as well last year, you know, and it was a huge event and it went really well. And you know, we'd have a DJ playing in the car park in the morning, and there's a real party atmosphere. And also on the course, we'd have 2 DJs, one at Screggan Cross and one in Killorn. So that kind of helps motivate runners, you know, out on the course, and it adds atmosphere as well, you know.
Well, 6 years ago, Pauline Curley from your club represented Ireland in the marathon in Beijing. Obviously, that must have been a huge moment for the club. There is a history there of marathon running.
Oh, definitely. There's a huge history of marathon running. Marathon in the club, and some of our athletes have won national medals at the distance, and we also have an Olympian in Pauline Curley who ran in, as you say, in Beijing in 2008. Some of the names worth noting are Noel McGowan, Mick Neville and Mick Hayden, going back to the early days of the club. And since then we have names such as Johnny Ferry, Liam Dunn and John O'Connell, all have great marathon times. John O'Toole is worth mentioning there as well, who was also one of the top marathon runners in the country in the 80s and early 90s. And of course we have Pauline Curley, who still wins national titles in track and cross country, and wins 3 to 4 major marathons in the country during the year, along with 5 10Ks and half marathons. She placed 3rd in the Dublin City Marathon last year in the national championships. We usually have over 30 club athletes who compete in Dublin City Marathon every year, and they all sport great times. Just a few weeks ago in Dublin at the National Half Marathon Championships, also known as the Rock and Roll Half Marathon, we had a successful over 35 women's team and over 50s men's team, all taking team medals. The women's team consisted of Mary Bracken, Rita Daly and Una Mullen, and the men's team consisted of John Donegan, Fran Mullen and John O'Connell. So as you can see, there is a very strong marathon tradition, along with a track tradition, cross-country tradition in the club. And there's some great times, and some great runners have passed through the club.
As you mentioned, there's quite a few strong older members of the club as well. When you go off to, say, like the track events in Athlone, can't help but notice you do very well in the over 50s and stuff as well.
Oh, definitely, yes. Well, the over 50s element is as competitive as the seniors. At the moment, we mightn't have as many seniors as we used to have, but there's some very good underage coming through, you know, so we hope to be strong at senior level again in the future, you know.
Some coaches in the club are doing very well as well. Robert Denmead obviously is doing excellent at the moment. Everyone he's coaching seems to be doing well.
Robert's up there now in Irish athletics, you know, with Paul Robinson 4th in the Euros in the 1500 last week. Rob's a great guy, member of the club. He's very hands-on as well, you know, and he's great if you're looking for a bit of advice or anything, you can go to him and he'll give you words of advice, and he's very well got in the club, you know.
Does that help when you're trying to attract members into the club as well, that you can say, hey, we've got one of the best coaches in the country here?
Oh, it definitely does, you know, and it adds to the prestige of the club as well, you know. And also the Harriers, like outside of Dublin, Tullamore Harriers is probably one of the biggest clubs in Ireland, you know, and you know, there has been a running boom the last 5 or 6 years, and you've seen smaller runner clubs that hop, you know, like the Dangan now, which are going great, you know. So, but, you know, the club has really reached out, and, like, you know, although people run under the Tullamore Harriers umbrella, like we've guys running Tullamore Harriers, and there's guys from Donegal, Mayo, Galway, you know, and like new people coming into the town come up, and you know, they meet all new friends, and you know, there's a social element to it as well, you know.
Well, maybe some people get a chance to run around the area that you usually run around next Sunday. In terms of options, in terms of people going along, what are the options there for next Sunday?
Yes, there's options for everyone on the day, obviously. We have a walkers option, a relay option. The walkers go off at 11 in the morning, and the relay option is a relay of 2, and that's €40 to register. And obviously the first runner starts, and the second runner will be bussed out to to near Mount Bolus, Killoran direction, and they'll touch hands there, and the second runner will bring it home.
Right.
It's at the moment to register online for one runner. It's €25 online, which is great value, and it's €35 on the day. It's also worth noting that after the race and after all the prize giving and the Coca-Cola at the finish line, that there will be tea and refreshments served in the old dance hall where the nightclub used to be.
Right.
And so everyone can stand around for a while and talk about the race and enjoy the day. And, you know, it usually goes on to 4 or 5 there in the evening, you know. So, you know, it all adds to the atmosphere, you know.
Many good teenage nights of mine spent in there. In terms of those who go next week, though, I guess this is probably one of the big events for you for the year, really, isn't it?
Oh, definitely, yes. This is our biggest event in the club. Like, you know, we do host all track events during the year for like Athletics Ireland, and we also host cross country events. But this is our own event. It's under our own umbrella, our own terms and conditions. So, you know, we're asking people to come out and support us, and you know, like we put on a great product and it'll be a great day and they'll really enjoy it, you know. So
because, you know, hosting those national events have gone very well, particularly things like the schools, and you had schools cross country and track, and obviously they're a big honour to the club to get those kind of events coming in.
Oh yes, definitely, and also like we have the facilities and we are positioned in the middle of the country, so athletes from Cork to Donegal, you know, can converge here, you know. And also Tullamore Tartan Track is known as one of the fastest running tracks in the country, which helps. And you know, people like Adrian Curley, Liam Hennessy, John Cronin do a great job organising the place up there, you know, just to mention a few. Just also on the day, it's worth noting that there is a small charity element to the race. You know, there's no pressure on anyone, but people might have heard it. Denzel Jacobs recently. Denzel Jacobs is doing 12 marathons in 12 days for Irish Autism Action at the moment. It's a huge ask, and Denzel is a club member, and we back him all the way with this venture. So sponsorship cards are available. Denzel will start about 2 hours before us doing one loop of the course. Then he will join the Harriers half marathon at 12 o'clock to do his other half. We wish him all the best with this venture. He has been all over the country running marathons and is a great guy. And also Ray Murray, another club member, is selling pink laces for breast cancer, and all our athletes will be sporting them on the day. They are available at €3 per pair.
We had Denzel in Surrey actually just before he started his trip. He did it last year as well. And I suppose a crazy guy in a good way, in that very committed parent. Works an awful lot with other people's kids in terms of autism as well. And then to take on this is mad. I mean, we've seen the picture on Twitter, like he is running through all sorts of conditions. Doesn't matter to him, he'll just finish the track.
Oh, he's brilliant, you know. I think he's in Wicklow the other day, you know, and like you say, he's the last few years, and like I've seen him. I'm a builder myself, and I'd be going to work early on the motorway some mornings. I remember being on at about 6:30 one morning in the middle of winter, maybe earlier, and here's Denzel running, and he had a light, he had a cap and a light in his head. So he's a very committed guy. He does a lot for charity. You know, you have to hold your hands up to him. You know, and the club are completely behind him, and you know, we hope he makes a lot of money for the charity.
Fair play to Denzel. I don't know how he gets the hours in the day, David. I'm sure there's going to be a crazy 7 days or so getting ready for this. All I can do on a final note is wish you the very best of luck with next week's event.
Thanks very much, Well.